was all a premeditated attack, pretty much, by the Elizabeth Warren camp on Bernie Sanders. It's not even, a debate at this point. She knew there was a debate coming up, so she had her camp leak a story about how in 2018 Bernie Sanders told her over dinner that he did not believe a woman could be president. What? So, what does she do? She gets that story to CNN, the company that is about to air the debate. Instead of discussing policy for the limited amount of time that they actually had on the air, CNN decides that they want to take a break from the more substantive discussions of the night, and they want to ask Bernie Sanders about what he said to Elizabeth Warren all those 2-3 years ago over dinner, where they ask her, did you tell Elizabeth Warren that a woman could not be president, or that you didn't think a woman could win? He said, I didn't say it. So what does the moderator do? Do they accept his answer? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, they did the exact opposite of that. They decided to ignore that he answered in that manner, and they turned directly to Elizabeth Warren and said, what did you say when Bernie said what he said? Even though Bernie said he didn't say it in the first place. So if he didn't say it, how could she have responded to it? Optically, this worked out totally in Bernie's favor. The fact that they came to Bernie first made Warren, or put Warren in the position to where she had no other option other than to A, admit that she was lying, or B, double down and call Bernie Sanders a liar on national television. And she couldn't quite bring herself to do that, but that's essentially what she did in so many words. Warren got called out. Warren didn't like it, and she proved she didn't like it because after the debate on a hot mic, she walked up to Sanders while he was trying to get a handshake from her and asked him, did you just call me a liar on national TV? Of course, he tried to play it down and, move on about his business. He didn't want to make a scene out of things. Warren obviously did. Warren wanted that moment. CNN wanted that moment for Warren because they went out of their way to manufacture that moment earlier in the debate. And she had to have known she was still mic'd up. She had to have known that CNN was going to find this audio and make an even bigger deal out of it the next day. What did Bernie do? He handled it the classy way. He said, we're not going to do this now. We're not going to discuss this now. If you want to discuss it, we can discuss it later. He didn't get his handshake, but Warren didn't get her moment. Now look, this was, by and large, nothing but a calculated political hit job. Attempted hit job on Bernie Sanders with the help of CNN. She knew, her camp knew, CNN was going to be airing the debate the next day. So what does she do? She leaks the story to CNN, knowing damn well their disdain for Bernie Sanders. They're chomping at the bit to tear the man down at every opportunity that they can. So what do? You leak this story, and then you get to the debate the next day and you wait for the questions to be asked about Bernie Sanders' supposed misogyny and supposed sexism, which, if you ask Tulsi Gabbard, she said, hey, I met with Bernie in 2018 and told him that I was planning on running for president, and he was nothing but supportive and respectful, as he's always been. So many discrepancies in the story makes me believe that neither one of the parties really truly either A, remember what was happening, or B, that what actually happened at that dinner is a non-issue and really shouldn't even be focused on at all. But here we are. And why are we doing this? Because instead of asking about questions and about issues like, I don't know, Julian Assange and the freedom of the press and why we've got political prisoners that are locked up overseas awaiting extradition for exposing war crimes by our government, but they decided to use that 5 minutes talking about what was said over a dinner. It had nothing to do with any of the other candidates on the stage that their platform got shut down for 5 minutes because they wanted to put fuel on a political fire between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. And honestly, that's a disgrace in journalism, but what do you expect? It's CNN. But let's just face it. She tried to take advantage of the Nearatandons of the world who absolutely despise Bernie Sanders and the third way Democrats who absolutely despise Bernie Sanders. She was trying to take advantage of their hatred for that man and turn that into positive news coverage. And she's not what she says she is. Whenever Elizabeth Warren starts off her conversation about Medicare for all at the debate, and the first thing she says is, we have to, use the ACA as a starting point. Here's the thing about that. That sounds more like Joe Biden than Bernie Sanders. Because here's the thing. If it was really Medicare for all, she would come out and say, hey, we're trying to get Medicaid for everybody right now. But what she's actually saying is that maybe eventually someday we can probably, hopefully, get to a point where we can possibly have Medicare for all. But right now, we need to use the ACA and build on that. I'm sorry. If I wanted that, I would just vote for Pete Buttigieg. But that's not what we want. We want a comprehensive healthcare system for everybody right now. And no, CNN, again, fucking off with the stupid questions. They want to ask Warren about what her plan is, but they want to ask Bernie all this stupid shit about how he's going to pay for his plan. You know what they never ask? How are we going to pay for all these billions and multi-billion-dollar contracts that we give out to Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, and all these other aerospace and defense companies that we're spending literally billions upon billions every single year to make weapons and, just weapons of war? We're not asking about where the trillions of dollars we're spending on these forever wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. We're not asking where that money's coming from. Nobody cares where that money's coming from. They just assume we have it. Can we finally put this Warren for VP talk to bed? I think it's time. Okay? There's only one ticket that is going to beat Trump, or that has the chance to beat Trump in 2020. You know it. I know it. Let's just all face reality, get a grip on the facts. That ticket is Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard in one way or the other. It's got to be that way. Bernie Sanders can galvanize the left. Tulsi Gabbard will have a sweeping effect on left-leaning independents and some right-leaning independents that just don't like Donald Trump. Okay? The anti-war Republicans can be drawn. They are there for the taking, people. Okay? At a certain point, we have to start looking at this election for what it is. Elizabeth Warren is not the one that you want to hitch your wagon to if you're Bernie Sanders. You've got what you want sitting right there. A progressive woman of color who serves in the military, who has policies to not only prevent but end the forever wars that we have. She's been there. She's had Sanders back for years. He's endorsed her on numerous occasions, right? But that gets overlooked. That gets discounted, all right? Elizabeth Warren pretended to be Native American so she could use the Native American community as a political crutch to get popularity and votes. However, when it came down to it, and the Native American community, most notably at Standing Rock, needed her help, needed her support, needed her to fucking be there, she wasn't. You know who was? Tulsi Gabbard. You want to beat Trump? There's only one way to do that. Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, 2020. Period.